Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Folks, I've gotten a lot of questions on our channel asking when will life return to normal. It's very clear that some sectors, some industries have been impacted much worse than others. Individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality have been impacted the most. Right now, we have 50 Democratic senators, we have 50 Republican senators in the United States Senate, with the tie-breaking vote being cast by the Vice President Kamala Harris. The reason I bring this up is because there are several ideological differences between the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats want to go big, the Republicans want to be fiscally conservative. On the other hand, there are the realistic considerations, there are the local considerations from mayors and governors, both Republicans and Democrats, who are pushing for more stimulus. For many of us, it's about putting food on the table, it's about paying rent, it's about keeping the lights on. And for our viewers and subscribers in Texas, I hope you're staying safe, because what is happening in Texas and the collapse of the energy grid in Texas is something that Texas was not prepared for. Nobody was prepared for. It would be hard to prepare for that in almost any eventuality, and I'm hoping that everybody in Texas is trying to keep safe. And so what I'm trying to say is that the current state of the country, from a climate standpoint, from an economic standpoint, even from a political standpoint, is deeply divided. But I'm hopeful and I'm confident we can emerge from this. So how do we return back to normal, and when do we return back to normal? This question was actually asked of President Biden in a town hall last night. And I was very interested in the president's answer. And I have to be completely honest with you, the president sort of sidestepped the question and didn't provide a firm answer. And how can he? It's impossible to provide a firm answer in this situation. We live in the real world. We don't live in a world called La La Land where we can expect a fairy tale and where we can expect things to just get back to normal. You know that and I know that. But I do think the response from President Biden was very telling, in that he understands the challenges. He understands that you can't really provide a firm date. And there was another interesting thing that President Biden did when he spoke with a little girl, and that's close to my heart because I have two little ones, and I'll show you that as well, trying to provide some comfort to the children who represent our future. But first, let's listen to President Biden's response to the question, when will life return to normal? Let's roll the tape and watch.
When do you think this pandemic is, when is it going to be done? When are we going to get back to normal?
Well, all the experts, all the committee that I put together with the leading researchers in the world, in the United States, are on this committee of mine, headed by Dr. Fauci and others. They tell me, be careful not to predict things that you don't know for certain what's going to happen, because then you'll be held accountable. I get that. But let me tell you what I think based on all that I've learned and all that I've studied and all that I think that I know. It's a high probability that the vaccinations that are available today and the new one, Johnson & Johnson, God willing, will prove to be useful, that with those vaccinations, the ability to continue to spread the disease is going to diminish considerably because of what they call herd immunity. And now they're saying somewhere around 70% of the people have to constitute. Some people said 50, 60, but a significant number have to be in a position where they have been vaccinated and or they've been through it and
have antibodies.
And so if that works that way, as my mother would say, with the grace of God and the goodwill of the neighbors, that by next Christmas, I think we'll be in a very different circumstance, God willing, than we are today. I think a year from now, when it's 22 below zero here, a year from now, I think that there'll be significantly fewer people having to be socially distanced, have to wear masks, etc. But we don't know. So I don't want to overpromise anything here. I told you when I ran and when I got elected, I will always level with you. To use Franklin Roosevelt's example, I'll shoot you, give it straight from the shoulder what I know and what I don't know. We don't know for certain, but it is highly unlikely that by the beginning of next year's traditional school year in September, we are not significantly better off than we are today. But it matters. It matters whether you continue to wear that mask. It matters whether you continue to socially distance. It matters whether you wash your hands with hot water. Those things matter. They matter. And that can save a lot of lives while we're getting to this point where we get to herd immunity.
Now, folks, this is an interesting tweet from Alan Ropar, who is a reporter for Vox.com. And Alan points out something that President Biden said in the town hall last night. President Biden was speaking to this little girl. She's a second grader. And he was talking to her about why she shouldn't be overtly worried about this pandemic. Very interesting segment. Let's roll the tape and hear from President Biden as he speaks to a second grader.
Worrisome. Are you in first grade? Second grade?
Second.
Oh, you're getting old. Second grade. Well, have you been in school, honey?
No.
No. See, that's kind of a scary thing too. You don't get to go to school, you don't get to see your friends, and so what a lot of kids and big people too, older people, their whole lives have sort of changed like when it used to be. You used to be able to just go outside and play with your friends and get in the school bus and go to school and everything was normal. And now when things change, people get really worried and scared. But don't be scared, honey. Don't be scared. You're going to be fine. And we're going to make sure mommy's fine too.
And so, folks, you just heard Layla Salas. 8-year-old Layla Salas, a second grader. Boy, oh boy, these kids are smart. I can tell you, when I was a second grader, I don't think I could talk to anyone, let alone the most powerful man in the world and the president of the United States. I've said this before, I'm not ashamed to admit it, I was a pretty dumb 5-year-old, I was a pretty dumb 8-year-old, and I'm pretty sure I'm a pretty dumb 42-year-old. So, with that being said, let's take a look at this tweet on your screen from John Berman over at CNN, who spoke with 8-year-old Layla Salas, and she said that President Joe Biden was the first president she had ever spoken to, and she said, speaking with him, it made me feel better that I would be safe in this pandemic. Pretty interesting stuff. Let's roll the tape and hear from 8-year-old Layla Salas.
What I want to know is, before last night, how many U.S. presidents had you spoken to?
That was my first one.
It was your first one. I get nervous. It's my job to talk to people like presidents, and I get nervous. So what was it like for you?
It was, I was really, like you said, I was really nervous and I didn't know what to do.
Right. So he talked to you about coronavirus and being scared about coronavirus. How did what he said make you feel?
It made me feel better that I would be safe in this pandemic.
That's it, everyone. Let me know what you think about the return to normal comments from President Biden and his conversation with a second grader and trying to comfort this second grader. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I appreciate you watching. Please give me a like. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That really helps out the YouTube algorithm, and that would mean a lot to me personally. So please do that. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video brought a smile to your face. It certainly brought a smile to my face, like this. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll do anything for a like. And there's Layla. Layla will do anything for a like as well. So on behalf of Layla, there's Layla. Hey Layla. On behalf of Layla, please give me a like. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.